Hello Billings, welcome to another edition of the Billings Beat. My name is Neil Byer, your host and residential realtor with the ELEPHAS Real Estate Group. Today I have the honor and privilege of meeting with Veronnaka Evenson, co-founder and operations manager of Swanky Roots Aquaponics Farm. Veronnaka is a graduate of MSU with degrees in plant science and agricultural education. Veronnaka has used her knowledge and passion to create with her mother and partner Rana this amazing business that is changing the quality and freshness of the leafy greens like butterhead, leaf lettuce, kale, and Swiss chard we consume here in Billings. If you haven't heard about Swanky Roots, you are in for a treat. What they are doing is fantastic on so many levels. They are literally changing the game. Veronnaka, obviously you can describe Swanky Roots, the benefits of aquaponics, and the science behind it better than I can. So I'm going to let you introduce Swanky Roots, aquaponics, and what having an aquaponics farm in Billings means for the community.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome.
So again, my name's Veronnaka. So Swanky Roots is a way for us to get fresh lettuce all year round. Here in Billings, we have a very short growing season. And so my mom and I just really wanted to have that local option, even when it's negative degrees outside. So what aquaponics is, it is the combination of aquaculture and hydroponics. So aquaculture is raising fish in tanks, and hydroponics is growing plants without soil. So we combine these two to have beautiful greens year-round without the addition of any fertilizers. We don't use any pesticides, herbicides, no chemicals whatsoever. So a really healthy option to be able to have these greens. We have bluegill fish in our system, and we feed them a couple times a day, and then their waste is what gets turned into nutrients for the plants. And so it's just this really great relationship between the fish and the plants and the microbes in the system, creating this really sustainable system. We're able to grow a head of lettuce with 7 times less water than out in the field. So it's also conserving water, which is super valuable, and using the space really well.
Going back to the science behind the whole thing, because I just find it so fascinating, right? So no soil, right? And use fish to fertilize and to provide the nutrients. Can you just say that again and go through the whole process so that I understand it correctly and also the audience?
Yeah, so essentially what we're doing in here is the nitrogen cycle. If you can think back to science class, having to learn the nitrogen cycle out in the field, that's what's going on in here. And so fish waste is fairly high in ammonia, but the plants can't use ammonia directly. And so that needs to be converted into a form that they can use. So say, my favorite example is if you take a cow patty and put it on a plant, it's gonna die. It's too strong, it's too much for that plant, it can't use it. But if you put good compost or manure out, that plant then is gonna be able to use those nutrients and thrive. So that's what we're doing in here. We're taking that concentrated waste from the fish, running it through a living filter where microbes are essentially transforming that into a usable form for the plants. And then what's really great is as the plants use up the nutrients, they're cleaning the water for the fish. So the fish get something out of it too. They get nice fresh water constantly, plus we feed them a lot too. So they're getting food, fresh water, and just a really great environment to be in.
So just clarify, all these plants right here, all these leafy greens, there's no soil there. That is all water underneath, and the minerals, not the minerals, the food for the plants is coming from the fish, which I just find astonishing and incredible, so amazing. What made you decide to open Swanky Roots?
It was my mom's, I like to joke, her idea to keep me here forever. So my mom came to me with this idea of starting this greenhouse. I was finishing up school, looking at different options, different career paths, and I just really wanted to do something with plants. And then this allowed, it's the combination of everything that I love. So I've got the plants and then also the teaching aspect too. I get to have tours and invite people in and show them what's happening, teach the science, which I'm super passionate about. And so it just, once we looked into it and figured that it would be something that Billings really needed, we just kind of hit the ground running. We're very excited to to bring this to town.
Since you mentioned it, let's talk about the tours a little more. I mean, you are available to students, essentially anyone that wants to come in here and learn about what's taking place and the science behind it, right?
Yeah, so we do scheduled tours only. Unfortunately, we can't accommodate walk-ins just because we are a working farm too. And so there's certain parts of the days when we can't have visitors in here for different production reasons. But we love to schedule them. It usually takes about an hour to go through and just see and learn and get to really be immersed in the world of aquaponics.
Awesome. Where does your passion for farming and agriculture come from?
So I grew up, my parents had farmland growing up and then got into the cattle business. And so I've really got to see, kind of the behind the scenes ups and downs of being farmers and ranchers in Montana, and just very passionate about seeing the hard work that they've put in. It's no just go to work, go home, go to bed type thing. Like, you're always working.
It's not a 9 to 5.
No, it's not. And holidays are great days for working. And so just really having them as role models, and then also just the people that I was introduced through them, just seeing how hardworking everybody was made me very passionate about agriculture. And I just can't see it any other way now. Like, I love being in here every day and being a part of not only the ag community, but also the restaurant industry here in town as well.
What was it like when you first started?
Oh man. Seems like it was so long ago.
How long ago was it?
So this process has been going on now since, we started in 2016, like right when I graduated college and tried to start building. Then the greenhouse took a year to build when it was only supposed to take a few months.
Did you build it?
We had a company help us with it.
But a lot of it was hands-on? You
Yeah.
and your family out here?
Yeah, especially the system itself. We put a lot of this together ourselves.
Wow.
With some guidance from Nelson and Pade too.
Some blueprints, some consulting.
Yeah. So that was in the beginning. Just it took a long time to get it set up, and then it's just. Every day was learning. We would just walk lines and learn how things go, and just really try to get that really good understanding of how the system was working, so that now we don't have to think about that as much. We know where things are going in here, and we can focus on the day-to-day tasks of harvesting lettuce, planting, moving. And so while we know how it's running, we don't have to be focusing on that every single day now.
Was there ever a moment where you're like, oh my goodness, what'd I get myself into?
Yes. About once a week. No. When we first started going, so we had to bring in our fish a little bit differently than we would have liked. So typically you want to stock these systems very slowly with fish. Now we have about 10,000 fish in here. And when our first batch of fish, we started with 5,000 fish, which was overstocking, but we weren't able to get more in. And so that was a little bit chaotic, just trying to keep it safe. And we did okay for about 3 months, and then we lost some because it just was too much too fast.
And this was all new to you, right? You have 5,000 fish coming and you're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
What now?
Yeah.
How do we do this?
Yep. We take measurements of the fish, and so just learning even how do you weigh a fish, how do you measure a fish, and they don't want to be out of the water, so can you do it as fast and humanely as possible? And so
and
lots
what do you
of tricks.
feed them to get the best nutrients? And so a lot of trial and error.
Yes, this place has changed a lot just from the day-to-day of learning, like, okay, well, what if we move this here? That'll make it just makes it that much more efficient.
It's a business, obviously, and it's agriculture and it's a farm, but it's also like a huge science experiment in many ways, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's, for better or worse, what I love about it is we don't only have plants to worry about, and we don't only have fish to worry about. We also have the microbes, and so you have to make sure all three of them are happy and are getting along together, and they do work really well together. But there's, the fish would like the water a little colder. Well, the plants want it a little bit hotter. And so it's finding what those ranges really are. And then the seasons change, and then that changes. So it's, just always really paying attention to how things are growing and what you can do and also what you can't change, and just have to be able to let nature take its course in here.
Now, if people want to get your greens, how can they do that?
Yeah, so we have our farm store here that's open Monday through Saturday from 10 to 4. And then we also supply Race and Ray's IGA in Laurel. You can go online to the Yellowstone Valley Food Hub. There's other producers in there that have lamb and beef and pork and other veggie producers as well. So you can order online through that. And then we're also working with the produce market that just opened up here in town. So we've got some of our lettuce varieties there. And then soon we'll be back in Red Lodge and Bozeman too. So we've got some grocery stores there as well.
Fantastic. And then you're also supplying some restaurants.
Yeah.
So what are some of the restaurants that use your product?
Yeah, so we supply to Walker's, and then Local Kitchen, Commons 1882, Ray Ray's Bakery, Project Lunch. I'm gonna forget some every time. And then we just started working with Petroleum Club as well, and hopefully going to be working with the Northern too. So just really excited. It's just been great. I love working with the chefs, the ideas that they have, having them out here seeing it too. It's really fun.
They obviously love your product. I mean, the restaurants you just named are some of the best in Billings, so they recognize the quality.
Yeah, it's fun. At Walker's, they call it their Swanky Caesar salad, and then Commons, they've got their Swanky salad, and so it's really fun just to have the names out there too, and just being able to, really feel like part of the community.
And getting that recognition. What drives you to do what you do? What motivates you?
I think really just seeing the response that our customers have had. I mean, we've had people come in just, we never want you to stop. Please keep growing. We love your product. What do we need to do to help? Just all these things that our customers are telling us, bringing family in, they want to show them. I remember I had one guy he picked in a family relative from the airport, and this was the first place that they came to make a tour.
You gotta see Swanky Roots.
And so that's just amazing that it's, becoming part of everybody, or part of people's lives too.
Part of the community.
Yeah, and so makes the long days and the hot days worth it, just hearing, and just, people recognizing the quality of it. Like, it's not just something that you can actually tell the difference. And so that's just, it's great hearing that from people, that they love it so much.
What is something most people don't know about Swanky Roots?
I feel like a lot of people don't know how small we really are. If you drive out here and you see the facility, it is a very large facility. It looks like there's probably tons of people working. There's not. There's only a few of us, and we're putting our heart and soul into it. And it's just, we're passionate about it. We're stubborn. We're going to keep working. It's not, I like to think we make it look easy, but it takes time.
Can you elaborate a little more? You said it's a small group, but how small is it? How many people do all of this?
Yeah, so I have one full-time employee and 2 part-time employees. And then my mom helps as well. And me.
It's incredible.
Yeah, like last summer, Hope and I were putting on, miles and miles because we have to hand move everything around. So when we're in full production, we can harvest upwards of 1,000 heads of lettuce a day. So we're harvesting that many.
And that's 3 people doing all that?
Yeah, we're very efficient now.
Apparently.
But then we're also planting 1,000 seeds and transplanting twice. There's 2 different stages. So we can be touching 4,000 plants in a given day.
You should put a camera out here one day, just do time lapse.
I think us walking back and forth.
You're carrying the leafy greens from one area to the next. Every day, right?
Yeah.
It's constant, just cycle.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, really good walking shoes.
They look comfortable.
Yeah.
What are your goals for the next year?
For the next year, I really want to see a new expansion, or adding on a bay to the greenhouse for the kale production. That's kind of the immediate. And then we're also hoping to build a new storefront, just to kind of better serve the purpose now that we're seeing more traffic for our farm store. Just getting that changed, and just getting it out to people. Even though we're getting more recognition, there's still, I meet people all the time that have never heard of us. And so just trying to, make sure everybody knows we're here and what we're doing.
Now, once everybody does know, is that again, I guess that's a good problem to have,
Yes.
right? The demand's there, and then we solve the problem to provide.
Yeah, I would love to have more greenhouses. I mean, we've got land here, and so if we could expand and keep just growing more and more for people, I would absolutely love that.
And what you need right now to accomplish that is more money, right? And then put that money back into the business. So
Yeah.
the higher the demand, the more revenue, more profit you're making, so that you can return it to the business and grow and make more greenhouses.
Yeah, yeah, that's these systems take a little bit to get going. There's a lot of components, a lot of piping. The buildings themselves are not cheap, and so that's kind of just the thing stopping, is just needing the capital to be able to expand more.
So get out here, people. Buy your leafy greens. Who from your childhood had the biggest impact on you? And what did that person teach you?
I have two. So I had two teachers in high school, Mr. Miller and Mr. Stanton.
They're here in Billings.
They are, yes. So Mr. Stanton, I took his genocide class, which when I tell people that changed my life, they're kind of always like,
What?
why? What? No, he just taught me to look at the world a little differently and to realize that there was more than just Billings, Montana, and to really pay attention to the world and how we treat people. And I think, just kind of, it's easy, especially when you're in high school, to think about me, and the world revolves around you, and it doesn't. And so he also really believed in me and just, supported me. And then Mr. Miller.
Do you keep in touch?
Every now and then, yeah. Every now and then I'll just be like, hey, by the way, thanks for everything you did. Like, he's probably getting sick of me saying that to him. But
Does he know? Do you think he knows how large of an impact he had on
I
on
hope
you?
he does.
He will now.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody can truly understand what just simple acts of kindness can do.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, definitely. I think about stuff I learned in his class almost every
Wow,
single day.
that's huge.
And then Mr. Miller was my science teacher in high school. Actually had a couple classes with him and just taught me to look at the world with wonder and awe, and then try to figure it out and figure out what we can do to make it better in a good way. I think that's really where just kind of my love of science developed, and something that I learned I could pursue, make it a passion too.
So both of them have some role in this.
Yeah, they do. Yes.
Why do you think it is so important to shop local?
One of my favorite things is there's this video about when you shop local, or like when you shop in a big store, it's like, oh, an order, and they're just packaging the order. And then when you shop local, we do happy dances. And it's so true, because every single sale, everything, it's just like, it makes us so excited. It drives home what you're doing is important, and just gives us the motivation to keep going. And it's very hard being a business owner. There's rough days, but that motivation from the customers and the love and support is what makes it all worth it.
That's huge. So well said. Veronica, thank you so much. I think what you're doing here is just amazing on so many levels. I mean, you're providing local greens to the community. You are making contributions to saving the environment. You're working on a huge science project that just astonishes me, and just continually trying to find a balance and investing so much of your time and energy to accomplish this. So I want to thank you on behalf of myself, because I think it's amazing what you're doing. It's really great for the community. Billings, if you have not heard of Swanky Roots, you have now. Support what Veronica is doing, because it is so good for the community. It's so good for the state. It's so good for the environment. Please look her up, check her out on the internet. They have a website. Check her out on Facebook. They have a Facebook page as well. And come down and support them. With that, that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Neil Byer with the ELEPHAS Real Estate Group signing off. We'll see you next time. Cheers.